Email marketing is one of the only channels where you have a direct connection with your guest. Email marketing can be one of the most impactful channels for your vacation rental business, but you have to know how to leverage it. You have to know how to collect emails, and you have to know what sort of results you can expect when you start to send emails to your past guests. The reason that email marketing can be so beneficial is that email marketing is very scalable. You can send one email and outreach to hundreds or even potentially thousands or tens of thousands of past guests in just a few minutes. Email marketing is actually very inexpensive. You can send an email, and it's one of the cheapest ways to reach past guests and subscribers to your newsletter list. Email marketing can be very timely as well. So you can decide on Tuesday morning that you want to send a promotion and have an email out Tuesday afternoon, no matter how many people are on your list, whether that's 1, 2, 5, 100, or 1,000. In one email, you can create one time and reach many of your past guests so that you can leverage it and get great results from each and every single campaign that you send. We believe strongly in email marketing, and the data backs up the fact that email marketing is one of the best channels that you can leverage for your vacation rental business. We looked at the Google Analytics from all of our clients that we work with. We found that email was the third non-direct traffic source for the majority of those clients. Google organic search was typically number 1, direct was usually number 2, and then if we exclude non-direct traffic, typically Google paid search was number 3, and then email or social was usually the next biggest traffic source. Email can be incredibly powerful, and email can drive a lot of visitors to your vacation rental website if you do it the right way. When you're starting to send emails, you may want to know what the average open rate is that you should expect. And our data indicates to us that 20% or a little bit under would be on the low end, and some campaigns can reach as high as 50% open rates if you target only past guests, people that have stayed with you before. Now, once you send that email, anywhere from 2 to 5% to the people that you send that message to are going to click on that particular link or promotion or offer inside of that campaign. So if you had 100 guests, you'd get anywhere from 2 to 5 people every time you send that email clicking over and visiting your website directly. Now, the conversion rate of those people that come through on that particular campaign typically ranges from 1 to 5%. So again, if you had, let's say, 1,000 emails, you would expect to get roughly 1 to 5 bookings for that campaign every time you send out an email newsletter, email marketing offer to your past guest list. So let's talk a little bit about the basics. If you've never run email marketing before, or you're maybe more of a recipient than you are a sender, you may be more interested in knowing what the best way is to actually get results from your email marketing. So if you're a vacation rental manager and you're getting a lot of reservations through Airbnb, you're probably used to seeing something that looks a little bit like this. Unfortunately, when you get a booking directly through an OTA or a listing site like Airbnb, they don't actually give you the real email address of the person that stayed with you. You typically get something like this: guest and then some numerical number at airbnb.com or at guest.airbnb.com or something similar to that. Obviously, from a marketing perspective, this is useless, and some of the listing sites, of course, know what they're doing when they create things like this. And the reason that it's useless is that you can't do anything with this particular email address. You can't import that into a software. You can't leverage any sort of your tools or any sort of your information to actually connect with this person. Their information and their email address really is locked behind and captured by an OTA, by a listing site like Airbnb. So really, if you want to start to grow your email list and you want to start to get those 20 to 50% open rates, 2 to 5% click rates, and good conversion rates, you need to collect real email addresses. So not these fake ones that Airbnb and the other OTAs give you, but real email addresses that your guests actually use and check daily. There's a number of ways that you can collect emails from past guests and leads, people who have stayed with you or people who are interested in staying with you, so that you can actually build out your database and build that list of potential guests that you can then reach out to and get marketing campaigns in front of. Prospects, you could build emails just by simply including newsletter signups. We're big fans of pop-ups here, where if people visit like a specific content page on your website, you could have a pop-up modal that encourages them to sign up. Maybe you could give some sort of discount. We also have a lot of success with some of our clients not using discounts, but instead using things like guides or free downloads, etc., to actually build emails from people who are visiting your website. You could also run social ads. So even if you have a very small budget, you could run a campaign on Facebook lead ads. You could start with as little as a few dollars a day and target your potential guests, maybe a little bit about them, where they typically come from, their age, some demographic information, and you can start to build emails to people who might be interested in staying in your vacation rental properties. You're always going to see the best results from people who have stayed with you before, people that have stayed in your particular vacation rental property, and that's the best way to actually grow the list with high quality email addresses. One way to actually collect email addresses inside of your property is using a Wi-Fi gating system. StayFi is a favorite of ours, and a lot of our clients that we work with have started to use StayFi to collect email addresses from people who are actually staying in the property. Essentially how it works is they go to connect to the actual Wi-Fi system inside of the vacation rental property. It prompts them with a login screen. They enter their name, their email. You can potentially ask other questions as well. And then you have that guest inside of your system. Even if someone is booked through a third-party OTA like Airbnb, we can actually get their real email address instead of the hashed email that Airbnb gives us. In-property Wi-Fi is a great way to actually grow your list. And one other benefit of in-property Wi-Fi as well is that you don't actually just get one email address, right? For many of the clients we work with, we have clients who have properties that sleep 20, 30, 40 adults, some of their largest properties. And instead of just getting one email address from the person that may have booked that particular rental, you might be able to get significantly more email addresses, 10, 20 emails per stay on a property that might do 25, 30 bookings a year. That could be a significant increase in your database size just by making sure that you're getting the email address of everybody in the group, not just the one person who happened to book it. There's also solutions out there to collect email addresses inside of the property using things like guidebooks or actual physical tablets. There's some platforms out there where when you go to access the guidebook, it asks the guest to confirm their email address. So when you send them that link to the guidebook, they'll put in their email address there, and you could always use that as a means to collect email as well. Or, of course, a physical tablet. You could have an iPad on a stand sitting inside the property. You could give maybe certain information or certain value inside that iPad. In order to access it, the guest would have to put in their email address. So that's another way to collect emails in property. Now, pre-arrival, if you didn't want to do anything inside the property, you could always include a rental agreement. Platforms like Airbnb do allow you to include a rental agreement as part of your conditions for reserving. And one of those fields, of course, could be an email address. And then you could include a clause in that contract saying by entering your email address, you agree to receive marketing communication from us. So that would get you in the clear from a compliance standpoint with all the major email marketing softwares. And then, of course, you could get emails post-departure. So if you didn't have a chance to get them before they arrived, if you don't have anything in the property, you could also leverage post-departure. Maybe you have their phone number. At that point, you could send them a text, ask them, hey, I have specials, I have deals, I have specific promotions. If you're ever interested in coming back, I'd love to add you to my newsletter list. Would you be okay with that? And then you could get their email that way. Of these options, we find the best results come from in-property Wi-Fi because it's automated. You're not having to do any extra steps. These systems where you enter the data will automatically go into your email marketing software tool of choice. They work very well, and the guest is used to this sort of interface, right? If you stayed at any hotel, it's a very similar interface. You put in your room number, your name, your last name, and then your email address, and that confirms you. Now, once you've decided that you actually want to build that newsletter list and you start to put some tactics in place, you want to put those emails somewhere, right? You don't just want to have them sitting inside of a Google Sheets document or an Excel document or something like that. You want those emails inside of an email marketing software. Now, there's hundreds of email marketing softwares out there. We could do a 2-hour-long video and probably not cover all of them. But the one that we typically recommend and prefer to use is MailChimp. Now, MailChimp is a very straightforward tool to use. It also scales very well. So even if you have 100 people inside of a MailChimp account, you can use it and get your newsletters together and promote your properties. Or if you have 100,000 email addresses inside of MailChimp, you can work with that system. Obviously, you'll pay more as you get more emails on the list, but it's a system that scales. So MailChimp is something that we use for over a dozen clients. We have great success with it, and we would highly recommend that you check out MailChimp as a great means of sending the emails once you started to collect them and you decide the content of what that email is going to be, how you're going to promote your properties, and how you're going to get additional visibility. However, MailChimp is not the only way. You may actually want to send some additional emails through your property management software of choice as well. So for example, if you have a system that lets you send pre-arrival or post-departure emails, we find it's typically better to do that inside of your property management software system instead of trying to export those emails, put them into a marketing tool like MailChimp, and then work from there. The line that we draw in the sand typically is information that's going to change very rapidly. Check in, check out, maybe like a door code, things like that should probably be handled in the source of truth, meaning your property management system. Things like marketing messages or things that are going out to past guests typically do a lot better and can perform better just by putting them inside of a newsletter system like MailChimp. So once you've collected your email addresses, once you've started to enter them into the software, now you have a plan for getting results with email marketing. And again, email is one of those channels that is so unique because it's a low cost. You don't need to spend a lot of money to get started with email, or even if you have a list of past guests that you've collected email addresses from before. Email can be very high intent. Again, if you're marketing mostly to people who have stayed with you before, past guests, or people that have inquired with you before, these are people who are interested in coming to your destination. They want to come back. They just need the right message at the right time to actually get that guest to go from interested to booked. and you have a high control of your message. So you don't really need to worry about, am I using the right words? Do I need to think about how I'm actually phrasing this offer? If you're offering something that the guest wants, you can control the design, the layout, the message, and obviously once you send that to your website, you can get excellent results just by focusing on the real value of what that message could be. So email is one of the most unique ways and one of the best ways, in our opinion, to get results with your vacation rental website and with your direct booking channels. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, conrad@buildupbookings.com, would appreciate it. And if you're looking to get started with email marketing, get in touch with us. We'd love to see how we can help you and get results for your vacation rental business. Thanks so much.